Revolutionary greetings, comrades. It's the Red Sunday, 25th August 2024. We continue discussing the possible solutions in resolving the crisis in Zimbabwe, the political, economic, and the social crisis. We spoke in the last video about the opposition in Zimbabwe, that for the last 25 years or so, it has focused its energy in defeating ZANU-PF in an election, because the opposition hold the firm view that resolving the crisis in Zimbabwe requires removing ZANU-PF from power. Some, of course, in the opposition believe that if you remove ZANU from power, you will have resolved the crisis. There are those, again, in Matabeleland and parts of Midlands, whom we spoke about in the first video, who hold the view that the first step in resolving the crisis is to restore Mtwaga's state or the Jameson line. Others, of course, in Matabeleland and parts of Midlands, hold the view that you need to establish a regional movement that will win seats in Matabeleland and parts of Midlands, then negotiate with the party that will have emerged victorious in Maswingo, Mashonaland, Manicaland, and form a government of national unity. They are borrowing this from countries like India that have regional parties. But is this the solution? What is the solution? For us to understand or to arrive at a possible solution in resolving the crisis in Zimbabwe is to correctly characterize the Zimbabwean state in class terms. What is the nature of the Zimbabwean state, or what is the class character of the Zimbabwean state? We need, therefore, to visit the Communist Manifesto to assist us in coming up with an answer to these questions, which then leads us in understanding the nature of our struggle. Because once we understand the nature of the class character of the Zimbabwean state, it therefore assists us in defining our struggle in Zimbabwe. It then focuses us to zero in the nature of our struggle and mobilize society around that common agenda. The Communist Manifesto is written by Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx in the first part, where it deals with the bourgeoisie and the proletarians. The first line says, I quote, "The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles," close quote. The history of all hitherto society is the history of class struggles. ZANU-PF is not a class in itself. Neither is the opposition. ZANU-PF is a former liberation movement. Reactionary, of course, but it's a former liberation movement. It is not a class in itself. Removing ZANU-PF, yes, it's a step in the right direction, but it does not resolve class contradictions that exist in our society. Let's continue a bit with the Communist Manifesto so that we understand this question. It says, I quote, "The modern bourgeoisie society that has sprouted from the ruins of feudal society has not done away with class antagonisms," close quote. When we emerged from the liberation struggle, we did not resolve class antagonism. Removing ZANU-PF from power will not resolve class contradictions, because a reformist agenda by its nature does not resolve class contradictions in any society. Let me continue a bit. It says, the manifesto, I quote, "Our epoch, the epoch of the bourgeoisie, possesses, however, this distinct feature. It has simplified class antagonisms society as a whole is more and more splitting up into two great hostile camps, into two great classes directly facing each other, bourgeoisie and proletariat, close quote. So the nature, Zimbabwe, as we have characterized it, is that in class terms, it is a deep state. It is a deep state which is militaristic in nature, representing the interest of the looting class. Zimbabwe cannot be defined as a capitalist state. Capitalism, in a capitalist society, factories are organized, production is organized, workers are employed. And we have said in this very platform that a capitalist understands that a worker must be at the line of production. They build the schools so that the worker will be able to understand instructions at the workplace. They build the health facilities so that when a worker is injured at work, they are able to be treated. They build transport network infrastructure so that it will be easier for a worker to move from their home to the workplace. Zimbabwe does not resemble that, right? What we have in Zimbabwe, our economy is more informal. You have more people that are engaged in informal business. When the Economic Structural Adjustment Program was introduced in 1991, we abandoned the production. And then we said, as what Comrade Ian Biddles, our commissar, refers to, that we adopted a shiny disease. And we popularized the slogan that making money makes sense. It doesn't matter how you make money, but as long as you have money in your pocket, it makes sense. We abandoned the production. So Zimbabwe, therefore, cannot be characterized as a capitalist state. Zimbabwe is a deep militaristic state that advances the interests of the looting class under the Mugabe administration. The comprador emerged in Zimbabwe, managing the economy. It later moved into being parasitic, and under the administration of Emmerson Mnangagwa, it is now parasitic. Hence we refer to it as the looting class. So the struggle, therefore, in Zimbabwe is that you have this class that has emerged. A class that has no clue in organizing production. A class whose only interest is to loot what is available, is to loot the minerals, is to loot the Reserve Bank. It has no clue on how to organize production. And this class advances the interests of the military in Zimbabwe, which runs the Zimbabwean state. In the next video, we are going to elaborate on this point. because it's important for us to firstly understand the class character of the Zimbabwean state, so that we are able to proffer solutions for us to resolve both the economic crisis in Zimbabwe, both the economic, political, and social crisis in Zimbabwe. Please write your views, like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please do follow us. Amandla Comrades.